Have you ever stopped to think about what the size of your testicle can really reveal about your health? Have you ever looked in the mirror, noticed a difference and thought, is this normal? Or is there something wrong with me that I didn't even notice? What if what seems like just a feature of your body is actually a silent sign that something much more serious is going on inside? Are men with larger testicles really more virile, healthier, more men? Or is this idea just an old myth, hiding real problems behind a false sense of pride? What no one told you, and maybe they never tell you, is that the size of your testicle can say a lot about you. It can reveal risks, warn about diseases, point out signals that the body is trying to send in silence. But if you don't know where to look, you'll continue to believe that everything is fine. You will carry on with your life normally, ignoring changes that could cost you dearly. The problem is that for many men, this type of subject is still a source of jokes or shame. And meanwhile, intimate health deteriorates without any fanfare. That's why this video needs to be watched carefully. Because here, you won't hear guesses or repetitions. You will hear truths that were hidden out of fear, ignorance, or simply because no one had the courage to warn you before. Stay with me until the end, because today you'll discover clearly what your testicle size could really be telling you, and what you can do to protect your health before it's too late. The truth is that the body speaks, but few know how to listen. Small changes that seem insignificant can, in fact, be the first warning signs that your body is trying to give. And when these signals come from an area as sensitive as the testicles, silence can be dangerous. Every detail matters, and the right knowledge, at the right time, can save you from serious problems. This channel was created with one purpose: to prevent you from discovering prostate problems when it is too late. Sign up now, because here you will have access to vital information to protect your men's health. Testicular asymmetry. What is normal and what could be a warning sign? Have you ever noticed that one of your testicles seems bigger than the other? Or that one of them is lower? It may seem strange to ask this, but believe me, most men have noticed this difference and never had the courage to talk about it. Maybe out of shame, maybe because you think it's not important, or out of fear of discovering something serious. But the fact is that this asymmetry, this difference between the right and left side, can be completely normal, or it can be the first sign that something is wrong with your intimate health. The male body is full of details that work in perfect harmony, even with small differences between one side and the other. It is normal, for example, for one testicle to be a little larger or to be a little lower than the other. This is part of the anatomy of many men and does not represent in itself a problem. The greatest danger is when this difference increases over time, appears suddenly, or is accompanied by discomfort, heaviness, or a feeling of bloating. And therein lies the risk that most people ignore. There are several conditions that can alter the size of a testicle in a worrying way. One of the most common is varicocele, which is a dilation of the veins in the scrotal region. It usually leaves the left testicle more swollen or with a strange texture, looking like a bag of worms. It can cause mild pain, a feeling of heaviness, and most importantly, impair sperm production, something that directly impacts a man's fertility. And the worst part, many people live with this for years without seeking help, believing that it is just a body thing. Another even more worrying situation is when the sudden enlargement of the testicle is related to a cyst, tumor, or even an early sign of testicular cancer. This does not mean that any size difference is a reason for panic, but rather for attention. The big problem is that due to lack of information, many men only go to the doctor when the condition is already advanced. And at that point, the chances of effective treatment are much lower. The secret is to identify it early. And for that, you need to observe, play, pay attention to your own body without shame or carelessness. The fear of touching yourself, watching yourself, or talking to a urologist can be fatal. It seems exaggerated, but it's not. Most late diagnoses of testicular diseases happen precisely because men avoid looking at this region seriously. They wait for it to pass, they think it's just an age thing, or that it will get better on its own. And meanwhile, health is being consumed from within in silence. Prevention requires courage, and courage begins with the information you are receiving now. So I want you to think about one simple thing. When was the last time you really paid attention to the size of your testicles? When have you touched yourself carefully, calmly, without rushing, just to check if everything was okay? If the answer is never, or it's been a long time, you need to change that now. Not to live in fear, but to live with conscience. To notice any change before it becomes something serious. Your body doesn't make mistakes. He speaks. And when something changes in the size, weight, or texture of the testicles, it is trying to tell you something. If you've come this far and realized that this issue is much more serious than it seems, if you understand that small differences can hide big risks, then I want you to comment below on the sentence. Now I'm going to observe my body more closely. It shows that you didn't just watch it, but that you absorbed it. And it also helps this video reach other men who desperately need to understand this before it's too late. And now I'm going to reveal to you an even more worrying truth about the increase in testicular volume that many mistake as a sign of strength, when in fact it can be a warning of danger. Larger testicle, when excess volume can indicate hidden inflammation or infections. Now I want to make you think about something that many people completely ignore. Could a swollen testicle, larger than normal, really be a sign of strength, virility, or masculinity? Or are you confusing something serious with a supposed advantage? Unfortunately, this is one of the biggest pitfalls of men's health. Many men believe that an increase in volume in the intimate area is a positive sign. But the reality is that in many cases, this increase can be the first warning of an ongoing infectious or inflammatory process. Diseases such as epididymitis, orchitis, hydrocele, and even sexually transmitted infections can cause swelling in just one of the testicles. And because it doesn't cause intense pain at first, it ends up being ignored. The man notices that one side is bigger, but as it doesn't hurt that much, he doesn't pay any attention. And that's where the danger lies. Because while you believe that everything is fine, inflammation may be advancing, compromising tissues, affecting sperm production, and, in more serious cases, even putting fertility at permanent risk. And the scary thing is that this happens more often than you might think. Men of all ages, including young people, are developing testicular inflammation and have no idea. You know that feeling of heat, heaviness, or discomfort after a tiring day? Many think it's just physical tiredness. But in fact, it could be the start of something that needs immediate treatment. Ignoring these symptoms can lead to complete loss of function in a testicle. And even if you can still have sex, your reproductive health may be seriously compromised. Another important point is that most men do not know how to recognize the signs of an infection in the intimate area. They expect blood in the urine, fever, or extreme pain. But it's not always like that. Many infections are silent. They start small with slight swelling, mild discomfort, or a change in the texture of the scrotal skin. And while you pretend you don't notice, the infection takes over. It inflames the channels that connect the testicles, making it difficult for sperm to pass through and altering the quality of the semen. Now imagine that all of this could be avoided with a simple exam, a quick trip to the urologist, an honest conversation about something that is different down there. But do you know why many men don't do this? For fear of appearing weak, out of shame for talking about something so intimate, out of pride. And that pride is a slow poison. It kills the opportunity to take care of yourself before the problem becomes something much more serious. Men's health needs to be taken seriously. The prostate, the testicles, sexual performance, everything is interconnected. When you let inflammation spread, you're not just losing an organ. You are putting your identity, your trust, your future at risk. Don't wait to feel pain to act. Observe the size, color, texture, and any changes that appear, no matter how small they may seem. Your body is always trying to protect you, but it needs you to cooperate with it. If this content made you reflect on any changes that you noticed and never investigated, I want to invite you to comment below on the phrase, "I'm going to pay more attention to my body's signals." This comment isn't just a sign that you learned something valuable. It also helps this video reach other men who, like you, need an urgent warning about what might be happening inside their own bodies. And now I'm going to reveal to you the truth that no one talks about the size of the testicles and the real connection with your fertility, hormones, and performance. Testicle size and its relationship with fertility, hormones, and sperm production. Myths and truths. The time has come to face one of the biggest doubts that cross the mind of almost every man. Is a large testicle synonymous with more potency, more testosterone, more fertility? Does size really matter in this case? Or is this all just another belief created by insecurity and misinformation? The naked truth is that the size of your testicle does not define your masculinity, nor your ability to be a father, much less your sexual performance. And understanding this can free you from many complexes and, most importantly, help you identify true signs of health problems that go far beyond appearance. Let's be direct. There are men with small testicles who produce an excellent quantity of sperm, and others with larger testicles who suffer from low count, poor semen quality, and hormonal dysfunctions. Why? Because what really matters is the inner workings, not the outer size. The testicle is a gland that produces sperm and testosterone, and what defines its efficiency are hormonal levels, the health of internal tissues, and the absence of inflammation, trauma, or obstructions. In other words, there is no point in measuring, comparing, or trying to guess something just by looking. This only generates anxiety and false conclusions. What few people know is that serious hormonal changes can happen even in men with absolutely normal genital appearance. A man can have low testosterone, suffering from fatigue, low libido, weak erections, mood swings, and a drop in sperm production, and all without any visible change in the size of his testicles. On the other hand, testicles that are too large, out of the average range, may indicate problems such as fluid accumulation, varicocele, or even tumors. And many confuse this with strength or virility when in fact they are facing a warning sign. That's why you need to stop looking at size as if it were a barometer of your masculinity. This is a myth that is making many men stop seeking help because they believe that everything is okay just because of size, or the opposite. Men who suffer in silence because they think they have small testicles and are therefore not good enough. This is cruel, unfair, and completely false. What defines your intimate health is what's happening inside, and this can only be discovered with exams, medical evaluation, and above all, paying attention to your body's signals. And here comes something very serious: the relationship between the testicle and prostate. You might think that they are separate organs, but the functioning of one directly affects the other. A hormonal change that begins in the testicles can have consequences on the prostate, such as inflammation, ejaculatory dysfunction, or even increase the risk of abnormal growth of the gland. In other words, ignoring testicular health is the same as turning a blind eye to prostate health. And you who are watching know, when it comes to men's health, you can't leave anything for later. If you're feeling like your body isn't functioning like it used to, if you have doubts about your fertility, testosterone, or performance, don't rely on appearance. Look for a urologist, do your tests, evaluate your hormone levels, ask for help. Your value as a man is not in the size of anything. It is in the courage to take care of your own health, to inform yourself, to act when necessary. This is the true sign of strength. If this content you just listened to helped you understand that size is not what defines your health, then I want to invite you to comment below on the phrase, "Now I know that my value is not in my size." This comment is not just a symbolic gesture. It can make this video reach other men who need to free themselves from this lie and start seeing their health seriously and truthfully. If you've made it this far, you now know that the size of your testicles doesn't define your masculinity, but it can reveal valuable signs about your health. The promise of the title was delivered. You discovered truths that almost no one talks about their own bodies, and that in itself is a big step. Feeling informed is liberating, But acting responsibly is even more powerful. If you notice any changes, don't be afraid or ashamed. Talk to a urologist, ask for advice, have your exams regularly. Prevention is the key to protecting your virility, your fertility, and your health as a whole. If you've made it this far, congratulations. This shows that you really care about your health and want to avoid problems before it's too late. I want to invite you to leave a comment saying that you watched the full video so that I can get to know you and know who is really committed to taking care of their own men's health. Also, check now if you are already subscribed to the channel. If not yet, click the subscribe button, like this video, and share with other men who need to understand this urgent truth. Most men only realize that something is wrong with their prostate when it's too late. In the first pinned comment, I left a link to a playlist that can prevent this from happening to you. Watch now before it's too late.